Hello everyone, Halengar here. I wanted to take a little bit to do a how-to video for our mod Kerbal Colonies. I know it's been a little while since release. It's been almost a week now, I think a little bit over, and we've had quite a lot of downloads and quite a lot of asks to do a how-to video on this mod. So I'm going to go ahead and try and break it down for you guys, as I know this is pretty different from other colony mods in that we're using Kerbal constructs as a base for Kerbal colonies. It's using the Kerbal constructs statics and editor system to place our colony groups and facilities down. The facilities is a custom system, and all of this right now is coded by AMPW, a wonderful, amazing person who saw my pitch for this idea in the KSP Discord and decided to DM me almost a year ago now, I believe. And we, ever since, had started working on the project. If you click on a command part module here, you click Build Colony, and it will take you straight into this placement editor right here. And it's the same kind of interface as Kerbal constructs. You get this little part gizmo, same way you move things around in the VAB, except with big static objects. It's important to note here that when you first move something or when it first spawns on the active vessel, it has no collision. But as soon as you release that static down, it will have physical collision, so please be careful with your crafts. This right here is our colony assembly building, and you can see it has sort of a similar placement UI to Kerbal constructs, in that you can go ahead and change the orientation, height, rotation, and all and such. Make sure that you really fine-tune place where you want to put your colony down. Kerbal Colonies was born out of the idea that the parts-based colony mods often get crack and slapped. I was placing a colony down on Minimus, and it just basically exploded. And that kind of discouraged me a little bit from playing the game for a little bit. And I did start fooling around with Kerbal constructs a little bit and saw the facility system and thought, well, what if we could just use this, but for a framework for making colonies work? And that's basically what you see here. Right now we've got that little dome place piece right there. That's the barracks. That's where your Kerbals go. This right here is the storage facility for our resources for your colony, for pretty much anything. I was going to say Ore Dictionary, I'm thinking Minecraft. Any resource in KSP, basically, you can add to the storage facility. We've got our Launchpad there, as well as the production facility that we placed on the end, right here in the back. And those are the basic colony groups. So right here, if you click on the cab or the colony assembly building, it opens this UI that gives you an overview of all of your attached colony buildings. Right here, we've got the barracks. As you can see, you can also just click on them if they're within range of your active vessel, I believe. We've got the production facility here. This is how you build all of the buildings in Kerbal Colonies. It's used by engineers primarily right now. I'm sure sometime in the future we'll have possibly specialized Kerbals that could be doing various other things. As you can see here, also in the toolbar, if you click and open the KC toolbar, you can also rename your colony, and remotely you can open the cab menu and manage anything you need to do there. If we go ahead here and deposit our Kerbals from our active vessel into the barracks, again, mostly engineers right now. They'll be doing a lot of the heavy lifting for the colony. It gives you an overview of all the Kerbals stored there, as well as their levels and what they are, like an engineer, a pilot, or a scientist. And from there, you can take them to the other facilities and deposit them there. And they can produce useful work or productivity. It's a time-based system, and every Kerbal, say an engineer, it's based upon their level. Their level affects how much productivity they can get done in the production center. And the production center allows you, with tiers, to get more Kerbals in there. So more production, again, based off of the level. You can see here I'm throwing in a couple of the Kerbals. It starts out with 4. That's usually plenty enough to build up your basic colony. It's a good start to probably get an ISRU and an extractor running, so you can start getting resources. Right now, our extractors are just based off of a config file, and they have a kind of a fixed rate based on tier. I believe engineer performance, I'm not quite sure, I'll have to ask AMPW. But we are working on making it ore density so that on any planetary body, it's based off the ore density within a certain area. So you will have that scanning gameplay, just like you do now, to find that optimal spot for whatever resources you're trying to extract. We've also decoupled the ore and metal ore from the extractor, so it's no longer hard-coded. It's based off of the config file. So if you have resources that you'd like to extract now, you can add them. Again, it will be changed in the future so that it is updated within the game based off of what resources density-wise. You can see in the production facility, we just built a treehouse. You open the colony assembly building, and right here, it just takes you straight again into the placement UI on whatever active vessel you're on. Again, make sure that the first time that you click on this, it has no physical collision with anything. So make sure you move it to a safe distance away from your active vessel or any other active vessels before you let go. This treehouse is made up of OSS NTR and paraterraforming. Basically, the entire of our default colony groups are made up of both of those mods because they provide, honestly, the most beautiful looking statics that I've seen in KSB mods. And I know that some people have had concerns about paraterraforming, and that's why Kerbal Colonies is modular, meaning that all these groups you see here, right now, you could even replace them with your own Kerbal Constructs groups, just changing them in the config files, making sure that they have the proper names, and making sure that they are on Kerbin somewhere, as well as I believe you need a launch site facility for the launch pads and a ComNet facility on one of the statics for the ComNets to work. You can see here we've got some production going in the production facility, making sure that we can get our colony up and going with our first tier 1 extractor, just very basic. It's 2 Kerbals, and it just right now, of course, it extracts on a fixed rate. The ISRU here is another production facility like type building. It will use Kerbals. We've got the mining facility UI here. It has a maximum amount of ore and metal ore right now that you can store. And I believe this may have been before the update, or it may be within a future update, but AMPW is currently going through some of the UI of the mod and making it look a bit nicer and more clean. I'm really a fan of the ISRU interface as well. So you see we've got two Kerbals here. We can have these bottom buttons for retrieving the ore, and it will deposit it straight into the storage facility. Storage facility is based off of volume or amount of resources stored, and again, upgradable with tiers. Most of our tiers in the mod go to tier 4. We can go ahead and just take our Kerbals out of the production facility and shuffle them around to the ISRU. It's important to note the ISRU here requires all of the slots of the Kerbals to be filled in order to function. So you will need, at least at the first tier, 3 Kerbals to make this work. As you can see here, we have a recipe button for our ISRU. It's based off of a configuration file in the mod, and you can go ahead and change it to anything you want. I know right now we've had a couple of people say that rocket parts are really easy to produce, and that's just because they're based off the EPL configs, which are tuned pretty high, meaning that rocket parts are pretty easy to produce off of scrap metal and metal. And here in the storage facility is where your colony will deposit all of those resources, as well as you can see we've got buttons for you to take in and out resources just off of the active vessel. So when you subtract, it will give your vessel the resources directly out of the storage facility, as well as when you add, you throw whatever resources you have from that facility, or from that rocket into the facility. We've got some, really nice rain and weather effects and all these clouds from Blackwreck. Amazing. Absolutely takes KSP to another level, and it really is worth it. Wow, that's wonderful. Please go support Blackwreck. This is 100% worth the price of admission, which is just $5. As you can see, the storage facility here, we've got all of the storage facilities, and of course everything pretty much is based off configuration files. And right now within the storage facility, it will automatically add whatever resources you currently have in your vessel to the resource pool available to the storage facility. So it should be pretty easy to take whatever you have, including modded resources and such, and store them, and either produce them or store them. Alright, we're back here. Sorry, I had a little bit of a bug and had to kind of redo the colonies here. Thank you very much to the quick work of AMPW helping me out with this. And right here you can see in the production facility, we're just going to go ahead and build basically all of the things. Why not? We brought more than enough rocket parts. I usually, when I'm building colonies off somewhere for videos or for screenshots or such, I'll just take the biggest rocket parts container, fill it up, and then just plop the lander wherever I need it. Here you can see also in the production facility, getting a closer look at it, we've got a rocket parts as well as a time counter, and there is a funding meter there. So if you would like to adjust the config files for a career save, you can actually make the facilities cost funds. And that is something that we will be doing in the future, is going over the stock config and giving basically difficulty options at the start of a game for career saves. Anyone that wants to do that can go ahead and do that right now, but we probably will do that in the future. Soon TM. Just go ahead and time warp here and look at all that beautiful weather. And you can see here it does take a little bit of time with just the basic Kerbals to build up a colony, but this is again all level 5 Kerbals, so basically the maxed out you can get. And what we imagine this stock config right now doing is playing really well in a science gameplay, where you have to go find your Kerbals or rescue them from somewhere, and then take the meticulous time to level them up and make sure that you have the best Kerbals for the job. Our goal with Casey is really to make Kerbals matter. It's really to make that end game gameplay satisfying and not just make Kerbals randomly generated name at the front of Kerman and then plop them somewhere in a craft and they do something. You can see here we're just placing, I believe this is the new upgrade for the production facility. So as you get upgrades, some of these buildings will have placement for the upgrades. It's kind of like an extension of the building being placed. So I'm just going to go ahead and place that there. We've got the ISRU upgrade as well. Or that's the tier 1. And that right next to it is I believe that's the tier 3 or tier 2 storage facility. Quite a lot of resource storage available there. So please colonize with your biggest possible vehicles. We would love to see them. And then, of course, here we've got the vehicle assembly facility. That's another big part of Kerbal Colonies, is that this core gameplay loop that we have, at least right now, allows you to produce actual vehicles on other planets and your colonies. I know that there is some gameplay around extraplanetary launch pads and various mods that use it and attach to it, but I've always found it kind of hard or a little bit complicated to actually produce vehicles. This is a little bit more simple, and I'm sure in time it will become a little bit more complex while we tie in other gameplay systems like heat and power and such, as well as making the Kerbals have different jobs or roles and things, maybe different levels of proficiency. We've got a ton of ideas. It's basically a fresh whiteboard, go wild, and we're really excited to work on something like this. And we would also encourage any of you, if you in the community have any know-how or any technical ability, to come and help us, whether that's 3D modeling or helping AMPW with the coding or even helping out in the community. We would really love to see it. We're open to having anybody a part of the team if you really want to contribute to Kerbal Colonies. And yeah, go ahead and join us. We should have our Discord up by now. It's linked in the description, so I can pop it up here in the YouTube video. You can see right here we're placing the Comnet facility. Right now, it's not manned by Kerbals or anything. It'll just work as basically an extension ground station for your colony. Here's another extension of the production facility. Again, you can go ahead and take your time a lot more than I am with placement of your colony to make it look however you want. And this is also something that we would like to improve upon in the future, is that right now Casey only works with colony groups. So all of these are colony groups in Kerbal constructs made up of a bunch of static objects. For example, the treehouse at the top there is made up of, I want to say like 30 different statics just to make that one thing. But these tiles on the bottom here, most of these tiles on these buildings are OSS/NTR singular statics. Really, really awesome job with that mod. I would love to learn more about the stock textures after loading so that we can go ahead and make our own colony statics based upon that. It makes OSS/NTR very, very performant, and it further drives to the point that static-based colony mod like this basically allows you to build much, much bigger. Whereas all of these statics themselves, they have physical colliders, but they don't have any physics calculations on them. They're not parts. They don't have any part modules attached to them. And even in KSP as a whole for Kerbal constructs, you can change, say, a fuel tank. You can actually turn that into a static in the configuration files of the part itself. Some a little bit easier than others. Go ahead and deposit all of our extra Kerbals into the treehouse there. See, that gives us quite a lot more storage. And in the background there, I believe that is the tier 4 barracks. That's the biggest barracks we got right there. That's also a thing right there. So you see I deposited all of the Kerbals, and that basically just left the craft empty because it was the active vessel. What you can do is, if you do that accidentally, just put the Kerbal back in, and their crew portrait won't show up at the bottom, but they're in there. The way to fix that right now is just cycle the map button, just press M and go back out into the scene, and you'll see them pop up. You can see I also deposit a scientist in our research facility, which right now I believe is based off the scientist's proficiency, just their level, and they will generate science points over time. More upgrades for the research and development, more space for more scientists, more science. You see we got our mining facility going here, getting a bunch of ore for us, and metal ore. We're going to go ahead and deposit and refine that in the ISRU so we can start making rocket parts. You see our mining facility, as soon as it's full, it will stop, and as soon as you take any ore out, it will immediately start again. As you can see right there, our ore went directly into our storage facility. We go ahead and deposit all the rest of our rocket parts from our vehicle into the storage facility so we can use them for making other crafts. And right here we got the ISRU facility open up again. You can scroll down and go to our rocket parts production. It's important to note that in order to make metal ore to metal and then to rocket parts, you're going to need liquid fuel as well as metal ore. So make sure you either deposit whatever fuel you have left in your active vessel, or just make some of your own. It's always good to have some extra fuel around for whenever you have a lander. Alright, so let's start actually producing a vehicle with Kerbal Colonies. I'm going to move this over here. Probably don't want to leave any craft around buildings while you're upgrading and or placing them around. So anytime you do, move them around and make sure they don't get crushed, essentially. So to produce a vehicle with Kerbal Colonies, you've got the vehicle assembly facility. It acts as basically another production facility, and if you have Kerbals in there, it will count towards the production time or work of other buildings that are actively being produced or upgraded. Right now, if you take Kerbals, you throw them in the vehicle assembly facility, and at the bottom here, it says use this facility type to build vehicles. Once you push that, you can use this specific vehicle assembly facility to count towards the production of whatever vehicle is in the vessel queue to be constructed. Now, in order to make a vehicle, you need to make sure that you have a vehicle assembly facility, a hangar, and a launch pad. But the launch pad is one of the default groups, so you'll almost always have one. You can go ahead and, of course, make bigger and better launch pads that we also have. Go ahead and throw a bunch of Kerbals in here. Oh, and I believe that was another bug where I had to cut out and join back in real quick. But to produce an actual vessel with Kerbal Colonies, you need to make sure you have all of those facilities available, as well as spare rocket parts. And it will tell you in the vehicle assembly facility the cost per ton of vehicle. The vehicle assembly facility and producing actual vehicles, as well as the hangar facility, is volume based off of the actual volume and size of your craft and the tonnage. There's tonnage limits on what you can store and what you can build. So in order to build one, you have to go back to the Space Center, the KSC view. Go ahead and go to the VAB here. Alright, now that we're in the VAB here, let's go ahead and make ourselves just a little tiny hopper. Just something basic that I'm sure more than enough people will make for a Minimus colony. Just a tiny little lander, because it absolutely doesn't need that much delta V on that planetary body. Alright, lander's done. And in order to actually build the vehicle, you have to come over here to the launch button, hover over it, and you will see all of your colonies there and their launch pads. It will give you a pre-launch check to make sure that you don't have any Kerbals right now, because right now that's the only way we have avoiding conflicts with duplicating Kerbals. Go ahead and clear that and hover over, click the launch button. KSP is just giving you a warning that there's no control. I think that's just because I don't have a drone core. You can ignore that. It will take you through the scene change loading screen to launch the actual vessel, and then straight back out into the KSC view. Go ahead and load here. There we go. And that's it. You go ahead and select a colony. You can remotely open the colony assembly building, and then go ahead and open your hangar, and there you go. You've got the build time right there for whatever vehicle you're constructing. You go ahead and just watch that time pass through, and some nice black rat clouds in the background. And there you go. We now have our own vehicle produced with Kerbal Colonies. Anywhere out there in the Kerbal system, or maybe even other star systems, you can go ahead and make your own vehicles. We hit the load button here, even from the KSC view. You'll see it'll plop it right out here on the selected landing pad for the colony. And there you go. We have our own little hopper. Let's go ahead and get Bill and just throw Bill in there. And again, just cycle with the map button and you can go ahead and see Bill's portrait. And currently, we have to spawn all vehicles without any resources attached to them. That's how we prevent them from being duplicated right now. It will be fixed in the future. As you can see, we don't have any ablator for our heat shield, but I'm sure that shouldn't be a problem. And I think right here, I may need to cut. This is where we encountered one of our, I believe, our last major game bug right here, being the inability to transfer resources from the storage facility to a craft. It works the other way around. It just didn't work from a storage facility to a craft. But as of I think a couple hours ago, AMPW pushed the 5th or 6th update to Kerbal Colonies already, and that is pretty much our last major game-breaking issue at the moment. And if you find any, please, of course, go ahead and down below, the link for the forum post will be there. Please provide your KSP log and a description of your issue, and we can try and help you out with that. And here you go, a couple days later, we have the newest fix, and we have vessel resource transfer working. It now transfers evenly across the vessel. And well, that's it. That's the very basic rundown of Kerbal Colonies and how it works as the core gameplay loop right now. I'd like to also stress that KC is, again, made to be very modular, meaning that all these groups you see here, you can go ahead and replace them right now. Or even in the future, if we get other modders or even ourselves, I will be doing some 3D modeling, as my first project is going to be the pedestals from KSP2 trailer. Just those big colony pedestals, so we've got somewhere nice and flat to build on places that are not nice and flat, like the Minimus Flats. And I'm sure in the soon TM future, we will have other configurations for KC available that replace all of our stock groups with other things like our own custom ones, and or anyone else that wants to make their own can make their own, and we will add it as a suggestion or recommendation on CCAN, so that when people go to install the mod on CCAN, you get that little pop-up that shows you, do you want the stock config that we have configured for the mod, or do you want something that someone else has made? And it will just slot right in, and you can colonize the Kerbal system any way you want, spreading Kerbals across the stars and hopefully not the Launchpad. So thank you very much for joining me on this overview of Kerbal Colonies. Sorry about the wait for the how-to video. It's been a very, very busy week for me, and it's quite a lot harder to do a voiceover than I thought it would be. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching and supporting Kerbal Constructs. If you want to learn more or interact with any of the developers, go ahead and join our Discord. This is Halengar. See you next time. Fly safe.